Welcome, lords and ladies, kings and queens, my noble court, to the Cosmic Archive, a living legendarium of a million worlds. I am Lord Master Leonis, your humble scribe and archivist and curator of this fine establishment. Today I'm going to be reacting to Skybrows' newest video, No Fox Given. From what I understand, the general idea is for this video to be heavily featuring Fox VTubers. I know if you look at the thumbnail for the video online, it features Katsura9 right at the front. I've also seen that Lifu has a cameo in this. Aside from that, I don't really know. I haven't watched it yet, so we're going to watch it now. In traditional fashion, I will watch it through once with relatively minimal interaction, and then watch it through a second time where I sort of pick everything apart. Without further ado, let's get to it.
Up schmeats like a furry messiah. Slide your pride aside, my mission. Based apartments, simply love proposition. Nonsense without contextual. A flaming paradox, a spectacle. Like intellectual over sexual. But we wanna keep it respectable. No fox given. I lit the flame I was given. Ring ding ding, what does the fox say? Truth, yip yap, nothing fake. Okay, simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Fuzzy tail a day from your kitsune. Quangalang like bro, but they're all no show.
Of course.
Though half them yaps make you stop like
A lot of fan service in this one.
now they're coming for my jugular. Cause I'm just a little jugular. Purity spiral diced into division. No cap cuts, a clean incision. Snowflakey tears for a living. You know it's no fox given. Can't help but speak with precision. Cause the derision keeps me driven. No fox given. No more shame, nothing hidden. Ring ding ding, what does the fox say? Oh,
I love how he's what the hell?
Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. They get more based each passing day. Quang-a-lang like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like whoa.
This is not what I expected.
The shoe fits and girls fits your wear, counting you. The people are much weaker when they're split in two.
Lend your voice to what it must defend. Cause truth don't bend like a passing trend. Some type of way you feel, I appeal with the real. Spiel's been stamped by the common seal. No fox given. It's not a hard decision. Ring ding ding, what does the fox say? Moon your business, foxu, don't play. Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Fuzzy tail a day keeps the cray at bay. Quang-a-lang like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like whoa. Shake those tails in the air like a fox don't care. Loud and proud and going nowhere.
Gotta have Asmongold in there.
You're falling behind. What the fox unlocks is a fabulous find. Faced or just faced what's real in life. If the truth cuts deep, that's the price of the knife. Stand tall, grind sharp, full pie and spine. No hurt in the fog, bright side, clear mind. Like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like
There's the man. Who's that one?
Love the subs and the lift. Rolling real sheeple, stacking those slow.
like prim and proper, pippa scripts out of control. It's vertically divided, that's fine. and redefine. Using your mind doesn't make you unkind. Slip the high from the edge and back from the ledge. Canceled cancellation, now we're flying full-fledged. No fox given. You know we got the golden ribbon. Ring, ding, ding, what does the fox say? Lines are all nines. Sit and watch me slay. Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Fuzzy killer day sweeps decay away. Quite a line like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like whoa.
I think I'm like genuinely flabbergasted at the end of that one. That song was quite a trip. Heavily featured Lifu, Kitsura Nines, Smugalana, Kirsch. Is it Kirsch or Kirsha? I'm not sure how that's supposed to be pronounced. But yes, it's very interesting. We'll get into it, and I'll talk about what I see. This one had a lot of fan service in it too. So right off the bat, we have these multi-tailed foxes. I'm sure pretty much everybody knows this, but in case anyone is unaware for some reason, multi-tailed foxes reach back into Japanese mythology of the Kisune, which is a 9-tailed fox. And I'm not 100% sure if it has to have 9 tails within the actual mythos, or if Kisune is just any multi-tailed fox and it may not necessarily be 9. You know, interestingly, this song feels more trippy than Carolina Overdrive, but it doesn't look as trippy. I'm not sure what does that. I don't know if this is anybody. I think so far all these characters have been original characters to the Skybrows universe. Okay, here we go. This is Kitsura Nines. I actually had a section about this in the cameo collector video that I cut out because I wasn't 100% sure if I had the information right, and I didn't want to spread misinformation. But if I'm understanding her story correctly, Kitsura Nines was a small content creator, VTuber, who was struggling to kind of make her mark on the world. She got an opportunity to join a VTuber group. That group became VTards. If you know, you know. I'm not going to go deep into the lore of VTards. But there was one member of that group that overshadowed everyone else in a very negative way. And the result of that was that everyone associated with the group kind of had to they've kind of had to live with the shadow of that person over them ever since. I saw that Nines had a interview with the Dawn of Everything shortly after all of that happened, I think, shortly after the group fell apart. She was very pro generative AI at the time, and she continues to be. And I imagine that's probably how she found Skybrows. But she, I feel like, is going on a bit of a redemption arc now. She hasn't really changed who she is, but she has a different group she's associating with that accepts her more for who she is now. And I feel like she's basically in a much better place. Her reputation is not completely repaired, but it's better, much better than it used to be. And I think she's just doing a lot better overall. I feel like she's come full circle back to hopefully at least somewhere closer to what she wanted to be. This design for her is relatively new, though, the bodysuit. Is that? Hold on. Is that an anthropomorphized Kaya? Is that what that's supposed to be? Man, gotta have Kaya in every single video, but this one is interesting. I don't think I've seen Kaya done this way before.
And I bring up papaya, racking up schmeats like a furry messiah.
Of course, we just saw Smugalana, and this is Kirsch. I'm not sure what bringing the papaya But racking up the Schmeats like a furry Messiah is very much, I think, referring to the fact that a lot of the Fox girls are very, let's say, fine to look at.
Slide your pride aside, my mission. Based apartments and love proposition.
I'm also noticing that this video has a lot more lip syncing in it. And the lip syncing seems a little better than I normally see for AI video generation. Like if you just go back.
Slide your pride aside, my mission.
See, this lip sync, not super great. But if we cut to the next shot, that lip sync was much better. I wonder what Skybrows did to get the lip sync closer. That's really interesting because usually it lip syncs really, really bad on most AI generations.
Nonsense without contextual.
This is Kitsune Misugi. I think her throat has healed enough for her to talk again. I was watching one of her recent streams and she seemed to be talking a lot more freely now. So I think her throat's probably healed a good chunk, if not all the way.
A flaming paradox, a spectacle.
This is Ember Paradox, I assume, because it says a flaming paradox, a spectacle. It also said nonsense without contextual. What is this? Slide your pride aside, my mission. Base department, simply love proposition.
Without context.
Okay. It does seem like we're lyrics-wise moving in the direction of like talking about individual content creators and how they're based in terms of like based as in based in reality. A lot of these folks just tell the truth of what they see and get shit on really bad for it.
A flaming paradox, a spectacle, like intellectual.
Yes. Lord Intellectual. I think he still doesn't have his YouTube back. He's moved primarily to content creation over on X/Twitter. And he's now under the tag Lord Intellectual X. I am so unhappy watching what has happened to this poor man. He lost like all of his access to everything connected to his Google account. And this happened as a result of a technical glitch on Google's side, and he even was willing to accept that this was just like, oh, we didn't think about this possibility. This very rarely happens, and so he was willing to forgive and forget, but then as soon as he got his YouTube channel back up, like within hours, it was destroyed again by the same problem. So I feel bad for him. I really like his content too. He works so hard to create a middle ground. He's just getting punished for it, and I feel terrible. I wish there was more I could do for him.
Sexual, but we want to keep it respectable. No box given.
Okay, what did that just say there? Like symptelectual, overt sexual, but we want to keep it respectable. That is not a bad descriptor. Something I've been noticing a lot more on Twitter recently is some women who use AI generations to make very overtly, I wouldn't necessarily call them pornographic, but sexual for sure, risque, I suppose, images. And there's a lot of talk about designing things for the male gaze because things like video games, anime, etc. are primarily consumed by a male audience. But it is true that a lot of these Fox girl designs are very sexual to some degree. I think some of the people who are using the VTuber designs aren't necessarily super sexual people per se. Like I would say Smugalana is pretty much more a thinker. She doesn't really strike me as someone whose mind is in that zone very often, but she certainly enjoys using her assets to keep her viewers' attention.
Over sexual, but we wanna keep it respectable. No fox given. I lit the flame.
Is that Lynx? Hold on. Is that supposed to be Lynx? It might be. Lynx is in a lot of his videos too. I think that because of these the black tips on the ears. Lynx always has black tips, or sometimes it's fading into black at the end of the ears. I'm not 100% sure on that though. That could be an original character.
I lit the flame I was given.
This is Lifu Lifu, or half of Lifu Lifu. There's also her husband streams and reacts with her, but her husband is not a fox girl, so I imagine that's why he doesn't really feature in this video.
Ring ding ding, what does the fox say?
I love this callback. When I was in college, I remember this song being so popular, and I liked the song too, but a lot of people did not like it. They thought it was super annoying. So I personally do appreciate this callback. This one is Zalia something. I don't really know the background on this one. I know it's a guy who's using a Fox Girl avatar. I've watched a couple of his streams. Like I said, I don't really know the lore behind the character. So I'm not sure where that comes from. He does some reacts. He also does some AI generation stuff as well. I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion. I don't really have a strong opinion on this one, because I haven't seen a lot of their content yet. This is Smugalana in her Firefox form. Kitsune Mizuki. I think Kitsune Mizuki might be one of the few Kitsune VTubers that legitimately has all 9 tails. I'm pretty sure she has all 9 tails. And then Kirsch or Kersha. She's more of a news tuber. I don't know if this is someone. We're not even a minute into this video. I don't know if this is an actual VTuber or not. This also appears to be someone with a lot of tails. I don't know if it's 9, but it's got to be close. I don't recognize this model, so this might just be a generation that Skybrows made. I'm not sure who this is.
From your kitsune, like...
Of course, Leaflet. We'll just use that shot. Leaflet's recently been using the term Quango a lot. I see it popping up more in moderate to conservative groups, referring to people in the far-flung left that, when confronted with, hey man, that's nice, but this is the reality and we can't do things that way, when they're confronted with that, they don't want to accept it. They just scream at you for being a bigot, which I dislike a lot. She's been using that term. I remember somebody made an AI music video for her called Quango Queen. I haven't seen that one yet. But yeah, this term Quango has been coming up a lot, so that's where this Quangalang comes from, if you're unaware. I know I over-explain a lot of stuff. That's just my style. I have no idea who all is going to end up watching these videos one day, and I hope that, I can explain enough that even someone who may not be entirely aware of all the language that's being used or all the people that are being featured, that I can at least give them some information that helps them move forward. Speaking of which, Leaflet does a lot of news reacts. She's very right-wing. She, I'm not sure if she counts as MAGA, because she definitely disagrees with some of the right-wing statements. Like, there's a sense of, the feeling I kind of get off of her is like, our culture is being attacked, and I want to defend that. I want to defend our culture, and I want to kick these people out. But then you'll get people who will be like, yes, these lesser life forms. It's like, whoa, no, I didn't say that. I said the culture is bad and we don't want it here. Not that these people are lesser life forms. And so I don't think she ever crosses the line, but she gets a lot of hate. Recently, they did this white VTuber Awards thing, which I think was meant to be a parody on the Black VTuber Awards. And the irony being, Leaflet is Asian, but she was given the award of most racist, which I think comes from the fact that she's very anti-Islam. That all having been said, basically she's someone to watch if you're interested in sort of viewing the more right-wing conservative side of what's going on and how they feel about it. I think she represents the right a little more than the middle at this point. Though at one point I would have probably said that she sits more in the middle. I think maybe on a personal level she might sit a little bit more in the middle, but she feeds into it a bit. I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me. But she usually takes a very right-wing stance on things.
Bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like.
Okay, so Quang-a-lang, what do they say? But they're all no show. Fuzzy tail a day from your kitsune, Quang-a-lang. I'm trying to be careful not to completely depend on the captions.
A day from your kitsune. Quang-a-lang like bro, but they're all no show.
Hold on, I just saw something.
Quang.
Oh, I was right. So this, I just noticed she has like the epaulets. I don't know if I've seen that on her before. I think they probably, this design with the cap and the cape, I think has probably been used before, and I maybe just didn't notice it. I'm noticing it because I like epaulets and I have them on my model as well.
Quang-a-lang like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like.
So there's a lot of fan service in this video for sure. A lot of that like very feminine movement and motion, a lot of dancing. I'm not really sure what the lyrics we just listened to mean per se. I saw like they're all no show, half the yaps make you stop like whoa. I don't know if they're referring to that being the yaps from the foxes or the yaps from those opposing them. I'm guessing that when they're referring to Quang-a-lang and they're all no show, they're referring to people who, I would imagine they're referring to like the people on Twitter who feel the need to respond to something and then like immediately private their profile so you can't talk back to them because they can dish it but they can't take it. And so they feel entitled to be able to tell you what you are and what you deserve. And they're entitled to a state in which they cannot be rebutted against for doing so. Which I personally do not agree with. Yeah, lots of fan service. This has to be the creepiest I've ever seen Nuxtaku look. Bro has like the full-blown predator smile right now. Is this Panda a reference to someone? Because I don't recognize that one. I'm not sure who that is. This is Powder. She's another one of the white VTuber award winners. Okay, just a little chudular. That's another term I've seen running around. The left takes the term chud and they use it as a derogatory towards people who are more conservative than them. They use the word chud to try to mean like somebody who's like very patriotic, believes in the old school values, is not okay with things like sexually transitioning yourself, or at least you're not okay with exposing children to that ideology, or that you might be anti-LGBT in some way. Chuds is a term they use basically to say like, you know, it's almost like a term to slap on someone to say you're less than I am. You're a lesser being than me because you believe things I don't agree with, and specific things I don't agree with. Meanwhile, the right has sort of just taken this term chud and used it for their own purposes. Chud now just means like it's almost a synonym to based at this point. If you're a chud, you're just someone who's willing to speak what you believe is true, regardless of what everyone else wants to say about it.
Spiral diced into division.
Okay, what does this say?
'Cause I'm just a little jugular.
Okay, Purity Spiral diced into division. Purity Spiral, the sad reality is I think the right has started its own Purity Spiral, but the left has been in a Purity Spiral for a while, which is why things seem to get so much more crazy and so much more demanding, is they keep cutting away more and more and more of like they keep refining their belief. Their idea of tolerance continues to insist upon more and more incredibly harsh changes that people, I think, in general, are just not ready for. And at this point, the people on the further edge of the left are saying, it's not that you're not ready for it, it's that you're a bigot who can't accept this thing. I think the right has begun their own purity spiral because you're starting to see in the politicians on the right, they're starting to say things like, we need to cut away anime because it has lolly characters in it and it promotes pornography and pedophilia, and we need to start cutting away media that is more promiscuous because we're starting to push back towards, on the right, they're pushing really hard back towards the building of the nuclear family, and they're becoming harsher about their stances on women having multiple partners, on the consumption of pornographic media and its effects on the male mind, as well as the effects on the male and female bodies. And I'm starting to see that more, and I don't really want to see the right in a purity spiral any more than I like seeing the left in their purity spiral. So I hope that doesn't get worse, but I have a feeling it will.
Purity spiral diced into division. No cap cuts a clean incision.
No cap cuts a clean incision. No snowflakey tears for a living.
Snowflakey tears for a living.
So this is Smuggleana in her ice fox form.
You know it's no fox given. Can't help but speak with.
I'm kind of confused about that. The previous set of words. No cap cuts a clean division. I mean, that is it might just be that I'm too older millennial to understand this, but I think that has to do with, because no cap is kind of like a more modern terminology. We also hear cut the cap. So when you're capping, you're not telling the truth, you're lying in some capacity. And maybe this is about pointing out that there are groups that are not being honest. Because there's a difference between speaking misinformation and lying. Because if you think what you're saying is correct, but it is incorrect, you are speaking misinformation, but you're not lying to anyone because you're not aware that it's a lie. But if you know it's a lie and you say it anyway, then you are being dishonest and you are lying to people. So I wonder if that has something to do with all of that. This is a much more politically charged video than I expected it to be, which is a bummer. I really don't want to be talking about politics as much.
Precision, 'cause the derision keeps me driven.
I need to look up what derision means. The act of ridiculing or laughing at someone or something. Oh, okay, derision comes from being derided or to deride something. That makes sense. So, okay, so what she's saying here.
No more shame, nothing hidden. Ring ding ding, what does the fox say?
So basically what they're saying in this section is like, the more you make fun of me for speaking the truth, the more driven I am, and I'm done hiding and pretending to be or think something I am or do not.
Oh my god, spicy.
That shot right there is crazy. Like that is like Valley Girl, California, which is like the exact opposite of what Mizuki sounds like. She has like a thick Brazilian accent. So that when that happened earlier, I was like, what? That's because it's such a disconnect in my brain because that visual leads me to expect a certain audio to it, and that just was so far out of left field from where that normally is for me.
Take simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way.
I didn't even notice that in the first watch through. Do you know the way? Bro, that was one of the funnest memes for a long while. The like, do you know the way? I like that. I like that meme a lot. I think nowadays it probably would be considered super, um, probably racist. It would not be considered. It would be super insensitive. Is the word I was looking for. But people would call it racist. People probably do call it racist. But man, I miss the days when you could just have fun like that. And it's like, if someone was genuinely offended by it, or a group of people were genuinely offended by it, you could be like, all right, man, I apologize. I didn't mean any offense by that. I'm sorry. I didn't know this would hurt you like that. But that didn't stop you from going out and having a good time in the moment, you know?
They get more based each passing day. Quang-a-lang like bro.
These, I want to say these are the more Zuckerborgs. For some reason, it strikes me as looking a little more like Skybrows. But maybe they are the Zuckerborgs. I'm not sure.
They're all no show.
This is the the Elon Musk of Skybrows universe here.
Though half them yaps make you stop like whoa.
That was a really interesting shot. I feel like that's really tough to get on the AI. This like shot of the arm coming across. I'm also noticing in the background the My Neighbor Totoro Sora AI bot that was in Carolina Overdrive. Looks like it's been wrecked and hollowed out. Yeah, this is really interesting. So it kind of looks like they're using the blur here to kind of help maybe hide some of the jankiness. Yeah, because that actually has a bit of a zoom just in that one frame. I feel like the blur is being used to hide a little bit of the jankiness that would otherwise be very obvious. Although it doesn't really look all that janky to me. This is a really interesting perspective shot. Particularly I like shots like this. I used to try to do shots like these when I was in drawing class in college. And I remember like foreshortening the fingers is like a really rough one. But here you're actually lengthening the fingers a little to make them look bigger than they actually are. And you have to do that to make them look properly proportional at the distance range you're looking at. I don't know, I just thought that was a really interesting shot. Yeah, see the Sora bot in the background there. What is this, though? This is new. I don't remember seeing that back in the other one.
It's not who you are.
Although, in fairness, I didn't watch Bollywoodzilla yet, so maybe that's explained in that one.
But what you do.
I don't know who this is. I'm now very well aware this is an Underworld Fox, but I don't know who this is. He comes up in a lot of these.
All that really matters is that you heard the fox.
Okay, that was Silas Frostrunner, which we'll see again later with his kid.
The shoe fits and
This is Chew on Head, and she's a left-wing commentator who also doesn't agree with the purity spiral of the far left. Wants to bring us back more to the center. Like, I would say her whole thing could be summed up in she's like, just be normal. Be normal.
girls fits your wear, counting you. The people are much weaker when they're split in two.
That's Underworld Fox. Yeah, the people are much weaker when they're split in two. I was just having this conversation with my friend last night, and we were discussing sort of these things, and this is where my black-pilled opinion comes into it. I do not see a future where we manage to convince enough people that that the stuff we're seeing around us right now is an active attempt by the government to split us, not just in two. They want us fractionalized into like 7 or 8 camps. If they can successfully do that, they can just walk all over us. You know, I think there's a lot of things going on right now that are trying to purposefully create division, and people aren't really looking at it. And the two parties are much more fingers interlinked than everyone thinks they are. And I don't know, dude. My opinion is and probably always will be that the best thing you can do is go live out in the middle of nowhere, make your own food, source your own water, generate your own electricity, do your own business, and don't participate in the greater society until the next fucking is over. Because it's coming. I just don't think any of us have the power to unite enough people against it at this point. There's not enough people willing. People are too comfortable in their lives. They're not willing to risk anything. So that's my you want a genuine political opinion? That's my political opinion. Everything's fucked because no one's willing to give anything up to make a better world yet. And the best you can do is separate, go somewhere where none of this is happening, and ride it out.
Lend your voice to what it must defend, cause truth don't bend like a passing trend. Some type of way you feel, I appeal with the real spiel's been
This is much more exaggerated than Alana usually is, but this is what I meant by, like, she has her assets and she's not afraid to use them to keep your attention.
stamped by the common seal. No fox given.
Okay, I think this is interesting. We're like halfway approved now, or approved. We're about halfway through now. This is Feeble Mind with the Burger King thing. I think this is still Feeble Mind as like a cat. For some reason, I do not know the context, but for some reason he's been getting depicted like this, like a cat. He also said seal of approval, so I want to take a moment to mention that the Skybrows universe now has a seal verse where there's like seals as in the animal in the sea, the sea puppy. And so we now have a bunch of VTubers and content creators with seal versions of themselves running around a seal verse. Man, I want to say it's Dot Pocket or Dot Peckett is the guy who made that. He recently made a seal version of me the other day too, so much appreciate. I do like. I'll see if I can maybe like pop that image in here so y'all can see it. But yeah, that's been a nice little fun side adventure we've been going on.
Given. It's not a hard decision. Ring ding ding, what does the fox say? Munya business foxu, don't play. Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Fuzzy tail a day keeps the cray at bay.
A fuzzy tail a day keeps a cray at bay. I don't know. I kind of feel like the message here is, I don't know, looking at things that are designed for your gaze, or maybe just like consuming content from people who aren't crazy helps you kind of feel like the entire world isn't already insane.
Like, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like, whoa. Shake those tails in the air like a fox.
Of course, we gotta have our Asmongold cameo. Every time, buddy. He's in every single one of them.
Like a fox, don't care. Loud and proud and going nowhere. Just when you feel you're falling behind, what the fox unlocks is a fabulous find. He's still just based.
I'm not 100% sure what he means by what the fox unlocks is a fabulous find. I do notice that there's a lot of fox VTubers. A lot of them. It's very popular. Foxes and kitsunes are very popular as a style for VTubers to take. That reaches back into, again, the kitsune foxes of Japanese lore. But I'm not sure. I feel like this is one of those things where I think maybe Skybrows is describing his own experiences with this, and mine don't match them like at all, so I'm not getting it. I think that might be what's happening right now.
What's real in life if the truth cuts deep? That's the price of the knife. Stand tall, grind sharp.
I do like that line. If the truth cuts deep, that's the price of the knife. I identify with that. Probably one of my most major things I say a lot and I really truly believe is reality does not care what you think. Reality does not care how you feel. Reality does not care what you want. Reality just is. And as an entity that exists within reality, you have to adjust yourself to reality. You cannot force reality to adjust itself to you. And so, like, that's probably, if I had to pick a hill to die on, that would be the hill I'd die on. Like, that just is how it is. I have arguments with people all the time from all walks of life about this, where I'm like, well, that's fine, but this is what it is, so we have to do this. And you'll hear, I had an argument with my dad the other day about, I have a vehicle I'm trying to sell that I really wanted to get like running. And I put a lot of money into it, but it just reached a point where I can't anymore. And I'm trying to sell it, and I expressed that I didn't think that I would probably be able to sell it for more than $700 to $1,000 because it's not in very good condition. And my dad was complaining, like, with all that money you put into it, you should be demanding more than that. It's like, that's a fine idea. It would be nice to get my money back, but the fact is, nobody wants to buy a broken ass truck for $4,000. Nobody wants to spend that kind of money on it. So they're not going to. And I'm not going to find a buyer willing to. I don't have all the time in the world. I have to make the sale at some point. So, I have arguments all the time with stuff like that. That's just another application of like, yeah, it's nice. I would like all of that, but reality doesn't really care, does it? It is what it is.
Full pie and spine, no hurt in the fall, bright side, clear mind.
I like that you use the word vulpine. You don't hear that one used a lot. This is the Robo Cat Girl, I think, from the Elon Musk video. Or is this maybe one of the... There's no tail, though. Let's say maybe this is one of the Fox girls in an armored suit, but there's no tail. It's just the long hair. I think this has got to be the Cat Girl. Of course, we have our young fat JD Vance. Okay, now it has a tail. Maybe I was seeing that wrong before. This time it definitely has a tail. So yeah, this probably is a Fox girl. Yeah, you can see the tufts and stuff here. This is one of the Fox girls. If I had to make a guess, well, this has multiple tails. I was gonna say if I had to take a guess, I'd say it's Nines, but I think it's probably one of the original creations, not Nines.
Keep it real and never fibbing. Ring ding ding. What does the fox say? Little man hungry, running street.
There you go. There's Silas Frostrunner with his little baby. So damn cute.
Stream today. Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Serve it every day, the media fillet.
The media fillet. I don't know. A lot of this is just like, I get the idea of just like the media just shoves slop down your throat.
Like, bro, but they're on no show. Though half damn yachts make you stop like
The man himself. Okay, I'm curious about this. I think that this clip right here of him like typing away on his computer, and then we're seeing like how this character changes. Like if we go through this, like it keeps changing the design multiple times. I'm wondering if that's reminiscent or emblematic of the idea of going into the AI and saying, okay, now change this thing and now change that thing. Change this, but don't change that. Altering and setting up your prompt to get what you're looking for. Also, I don't know who this character is. Okay, so she's got a tail similar to a foxtail, but she's got like the demon horns and the elf ears, which leads me to believe this is not a fox character. I'm curious who this character is. Is this a VTuber? I don't think I've ever seen a VTuber that looks like that.
Gotta give for the grift. Love the subs and the lift. Rolling sheeple stacking those slow like.
Okay, I love this because this is obviously a callback to the fight scene between Pippa and Skybrows in the Crybrows video. This is the same area with all the like. It actually looks like it's an expanded version of it. So like in Crybrows, it's like she jumped out of his computer and there was just this kind of cramped workspace he was in, and she like chased him out of that workspace, down a couple hallways into a more open room of his little space station, and then threw him into a wall. This looks like almost like they took that world and it's like you might see in like a training room in an anime where they take that world and it's made of all these little squares and stuff, and they just expanded it out and like here's your training room, go fight. This, if I'm understanding correctly, this is Hassan, and he's wearing like he's got 3 legs. Um, he's wearing like the Goku Ultra Instinct hairdo, and then he's fighting with Pippa. This I think is a reference to when Pippa told that one FBA whistleblower not to collab with Hassan because she just didn't think it would be good, and he listened.
Prim and proper Pippa scripts out of control. It's vertically divided, that's fine. Redefine. Using your mind doesn't make you unkind. Slip the high from the.
Using your mind doesn't make you unkind. You know, another thing my friend would tell me a lot of the time was the East Coast is kind but not nice, and the West Coast is nice but not kind. And somehow I just understood that. Like, there's a difference between being nice and being kind. And I think a lot of the people, especially people on the left, conflate the two as though they're the same thing. They're not. You could say something very mean, but it was kind of you to say because better was it for a person to know what was going on and the reality they were dealing with and be able to adjust and change course before they get hurt than it was for you to nicely not inform them because it would have hurt their feelings, only to watch them crash and destroy themselves when you could have prevented it. So, yeah, using your mind is not unkind. This is slipped from the hive, from the edge and back from the ledge. Yeah, so like walking out of the hive mind. I think I never was part of the hive mind, so I'm not sure how that feels, but
Edge and back from the ledge. Cancelled cancellation. Now we're flying full fledged. No fox.
canceled cancellation. I think that has to do with people get canceled all the time and it doesn't do anything. Like, you can't really be canceled unless you let yourself get canceled. Like, people could say whatever shit about you they want, but you can always find people who are down to agree with you, and you can always find like purchase somewhere. It's very difficult to truly cancel someone.
You know we got the golden ribbon. Ring, ding, ding, what does the fox say? Lines are all 9. Sit and watch me.
Lines are all 9s, he says as 9s is on the screen.
Play. Simple symbiosis, yeah, you know the way. Fuzzy killer day sweeps decay away.
Oh, those are multiple of the Sorabots. Okay.
Quang-a-line like bro, but they're all no show. Though half them yaps make you stop like.
All right, so that I've yapped for almost an hour. I don't know that. I'm not gonna lie, that one didn't hit with me as well. The visuals are amazing. It's very good music. Some of the lyrics make sense, but like I said earlier, I think this one might be something that's coming out of Skybrow's mind about experiences or interlinked with experiences he's having or did have that I just haven't and so maybe it's not connecting with me as well. I don't know. Um, I feel like this is gonna come off as a bad react because of that. I talked a lot more about politics than I wanted to. Generally, I would prefer not to talk about politics, although almost everything now is political. It's like you can be like, "Oh, I think like." You could probably say something like, "Oh, I think Gerber is a better brand of baby food," and you'd have someone being like, "Did you know Gerber was behind this atrocity? Do you support that?" And like, I don't know, man. I feel like everything's been so politically pinned to something or another now, and it's hard to avoid. It's just really hard to avoid. Take it as you will. I suppose I am feeling rushed today, even though I yapped for like an hour. But however this turns out, I hope it does well. I did speak my piece on it. I don't really think I have a lot more to say. Anyway, that'll be it for now, my curious scholars. Until next time. Bye bye.